Hello, everyone. Today on Dynaway Dialogues, we are talking with Lucinda Worden from Masonite. She's a business analyst and solution architect. And in our conversation, we have a great time talking about how she's overcome challenges at Masonite, implementing asset management, making a difference in the operations department, and making Masonite more efficient. Hope you get a chance to listen. We're excited to have Lucinda on Dynaway Dialogues today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Dynaway Dialogues. We're excited to have you here. Today, we have Lucinda Worden, who's a ERP business analyst and solution architect at Masonite, who's been a customer of ours for a long time. And we're excited to have you here, Lucinda. Welcome.
Thank you, Jesse. Looking forward to it.
Let's get into it. You've been with Masonite for a long time, I think 15 years. And
Not 15 years.
Not 15
I haven't
years?
been there 15 years.
Okay.
No. It'll be 9 years.
Okay, gotcha. But you do have a background in dynamics for 15 years or so, and you've been working with Masonite for 9 years. And a lot of that time, I think you've been working with asset management, even though that may not be your background. Tell us how you got into that.
Yeah, so I have no background at all regarding maintenance or anything related to supply chain. So when I joined Masonite, I was brought in as a supply chain business analyst, and we had a gentleman that was in charge of our asset management program, and really not a great system guy, which I'll talk about in Dynaway CONNECT, but helping him out, doing testing, doing some training, and eventually he left the company, and I'm like, somebody's got to lead this up. So I stepped up and said, okay, let me do it. And I've had a lot of fun working with all of our maintenance groups within the various sites that we've been a part of, and really rooting for that underdog.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So yeah, what's been the most kind of different part about working with maintenance teams, and how has that sort of impacted you?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit more casual than our normal folks that work in the office, especially our production folks or within supply chain and planning. They're a little bit more willing to say, this is crap, I don't want to do this, or this doesn't work the way I want it to.
Right.
So they're really open and honest in terms of functionality or usability. So I appreciate that candor and how candid they are. And they're not afraid, but they'll also take a chance if you can work with them and develop that rapport.
That's cool. That's really good. And I probably should have done this at the top, but tell us a little bit about Masonite. Like, how big is the organization? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so we make doors and door systems. So our tagline is doors that do more. So we're looking to make doors that fit our everyday life. So now starting to integrate those security systems, the Ring doorbell as a part of your front door. We also make doors for non-residential customers. So your hotels, hospitals, schools, things like that. So really a full door package is what we're trying to offer. We have 60 different locations across 6 countries.
Wow. Okay. So you get to travel a lot, huh?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. I know that Masonite is an older company, been around a long time. How do you balance sort of an organization that's been doing something for a very long time, probably been doing it the same sort of way, and how do you balance that as a business analyst trying to drive new innovation and technology into the company?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think overall, as a door company, I mean, everyone has a door in their house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about doors, they're not that exciting, but now they are a little bit more exciting with all the things that can go with it. So we've challenged ourselves as an organization to make doors that do more. So really kind of driving that innovation and trying to figure out how we can get there. So in turn with that, when you think about your systems and what you're doing on a daily basis for how to support the ERP and the asset management program, you have to challenge that, mentality of this is how we've always done it. What can we do to be a little bit more innovative? How can we implement different programs? So, the mobile client, things like that.
Gotcha. That's really interesting. Do you get a lot of pushback from the teams when you try to change tradition, I guess?
Yeah, we definitely have a challenge with change management as an organization, but if you
Yeah.
walk through it and talk about this is why we're here, this is what we're doing, and helping folks understand we can do better. Let's partner together as we go through this process to make it a we can do this together versus you need to do this.
Right. That's wonderful. Um, Good. Well, I know from just our interaction over the years that you guys have been, you rolled out Dynamics at 12, 16 production facilities, 12 or 16, something like that. And so you've been working, hands-on in the system. What what is the most, I guess, challenging parts of that, having a widely dispersed community that you have to deal with? How have those challenges presented themselves to you, and can you give any advice to those companies out there that
Yeah.
have to do similar rollouts?
Yeah, I would say for us, I think our biggest challenge has been we have had a lack of leadership
Mm,
in that maintenance, arena where a lot of the other business areas that we have, like our supply chain, logistics, things like that, have business leaders that are driving the initiative and the focus of what the business should be focused on. Whereas maintenance is for us not a core competency within our organization, kind of just out there doing what they got to do,
mm,
fixing things as it comes up, and everyone's very aware when something breaks. So for us, leadership and having that focus and vision on how we need to proceed has been our biggest challenge.
mm,
And as we're moving forward with our 365 implementation, I think the business is taking that a lot more serious, that we need that leadership and that drive. So putting together folks that are really good partners with people like me on the system side of how do we want to develop the system? What are we going to do to make sure that this is effective, and having that leadership and drive and pushing, what your standard operating procedure is going to be.
right. Yeah, I can tell you from the vendor side, yeah, we work with a lot of different companies, and the companies that do have the vision, they have the leadership. Those projects seem to go smoother. I think from both sides, but certainly from the vendor side, they go much smoother because customers know what they want, and when you know what you want, you can get there faster. I think, obviously, um, but it is a challenge across a wide area. It's always tough to get uh, multiple people to agree to anything, right?
Yeah.
So, is there anything that you would do differently in retrospect of your rollout?
Yeah, I think I've done a lot of pushing ahead of we can do this, let's get there. I'll take on a lot of the data migration, a lot of going into a storeroom and writing down every single part, figuring out what they are. I probably would have pushed back a little bit more on, okay, you guys need to own your data. You guys
Yeah,
need to own your business process. I don't necessarily want to guide you down a path that is the path that I think is the best, and no one's pushing back on me. So a little bit more of that business involvement. They're interested, they want the system, but they don't necessarily want to do the work that goes into it. But that work is what they need so that they have a good foundation as they move forward.
exactly. Yeah, and it's I can also say from our experience, getting that user buy-in, making them do a little bit of the work,
Yeah,
forcing them to sort of own the data and own the process. That just gives them a little skin in the game. It makes the project ultimately more successful. Has been our
absolutely.
experience. Yeah. So I know, yeah, as a business analyst and an solution architect, driving innovation is important. What do you see as the next? Well, let me put it in two steps. What do you see as the next thing that you would love to see Masonite take on and implement as far as technology and innovation? And what do you see as the practical steps that you can take?
Yeah, I think for us as an organization, definitely going down the path of 365 with that advanced asset management solution from Dynaway. I know we're implementing that in the UK, but I really am hoping for us within our North American residential segment that we're moving forward with,
Hmm.
that they're going to take this on as this is a huge opportunity for us, because right now we don't have much more than a handful of sites that have a CMMS today that they're
Okay.
using. We have, I think, 35 plus locations to put on. So just even the base implementation is going to be a huge innovation for them.
Hmm.
So that doesn't seem like a huge leap for most people, but for us as an organization, that really is a big deal. And with our implementation going forward, maintenance is going to be a little bit later than the rest of the production facility, but that's for good reason, because we got to get our ducks in a row before we can even do the advanced stuff.
Yeah. It's so true, Lucinda. Technology rolls on, and ERP systems evolve, and truthfully, operations is sometimes, sometimes the area that sort of is bypassed for other more pressing innovations, and so it's a struggle sometimes for companies that come to Dynaway to kind of get things done in that area, because there's so much going on with customers now. Customers are so lean; they don't have tons of extra hours for people to invest in making things happen. So it does take a lot of leadership, like you said, to really focus on what's important. Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. And just on a side note, where's your next trip? What sites are you going to visit in the next 3 or 4 months?
Oh my gosh. Right now the only trip that I have is for Dynaway CONNECT, but I
Okay.
am looking forward to our many residential plants. We are currently working with our plant in Charlotte. We are putting them on 2012, but they will be our first plant to go on 365 in the future for the production side of things. And it should be an easy transition for them to go from 2012 to 365. So I'm sure I'll be in Charlotte a couple of times over the next few months, which they're a great group to work with. I really enjoy them quite a bit.
That's good. That's good. And well, speaking of Dynaway Connect, you're a speaker at Connect. We're excited to hear your session. Just tell us a little bit about what you're planning to speak about and how you kind of hope to, what do you hope to share?
Yeah, so my portion that I'll be talking about is the leadership within Masonite, or the lack of leadership we've had in maintenance, and just kind of how we've evolved and what we've learned from that, and why leadership is so important. I'm going to do a comparison of 2 different plants that we have in that are using the system today that have had 2 very drastic different versions of leadership. One's very consistent, one's had a ton of turnover, and what that does when you don't have leadership in place and how it affects the system. And what we're learning as it goes forward. A lot of good jokes will be involved, so be ready to laugh.
That's an interesting talk. I'm excited to hear that, because comparisons can really point out, kind of the path you can go down if this is the case. It's kind of an either or. If then, this is what happens. So you can really get a good feel. And with an organization like yours is so large, you can go many different divergent paths, but you want to find that one that's most effective for you. Good. Well, the last question then, just before I let you go, Lucinda, what's your opinion on these types of conferences? We're promoting it. It's the first one for Microsoft, but I've gone to a lot of conferences, obviously, in my time. But what do you think about knowledge sharing conferences? Are they useful? Are they too abundant? What's your opinion on the kind of impact they have on your career?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're tremendously helpful, because it gives you the opportunity to kind of benchmark where you are at as a person within the industry, as well as how your organization is doing compared to others. So you can take on, okay, we're doing really, really well with this piece, but we could absolutely do much better in this area, or I've never even thought of this. So it's a huge opportunity to really get in there, understand what's happening in the marketplace, and to see what others are doing outside of your own industry. So I'm looking forward to hearing what like the folks in the food industry are doing with asset management, because obviously they're going to have a lot more rules and regulations than, on the door side, where we do have rules and regulations, but not as intense. So it'll be very interesting to see that. So I'm really looking forward, and I'm glad to see that there's a lot related to supply chain as a part of Dynaway Connect. So hearing what others are doing with that is going to be very interesting as well.
Well, we're excited as well, and we're excited to have you as a speaker. So that'll wrap up this edition of Dynaway Dialogues. Whatever platform you're following on, don't forget to like, follow, give us a little bump. We'd appreciate that. And Lucinda, I just want to thank you for joining today, and I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Thank you.